It's dark. It's so dark that you can't tell the difference between closing your eyes and your eyes being wide open. But you can feel the water pushing you and dragging you. You also see their faces so clearly, but you forget. You hear their voices so clearly, but you forget. You can't tell if the hands are lifting you up or bringing you down. You don't want to wake up, but...
Don't you want to end up like Blue Blood? Hey!
Y'all hate me because I'm light-skinned.
Who ordered the white rice?
Oh, shit!
So what's up, fellas? This kiss ain't gonna French itself?
French kiss? No, I kept hearing, that's not a dap. That's not a dap. Where's the snap?
You see my knees? You see this angle of these knees? Draw this. Get this down, okay?
Nigga, everybody already knows what that tastes like.
We'll fix it in post.
The post department has been begging us to fix it in pre.
I can do whatever I want! You break into my cube, shoot my garden, and tell me how to raise my child! It's you. I'm fine.
You can't kidnap your own dad. I don't have time to explain it to you right now, but the word kid is in it.
No, unacceptable. I want to see D'Angelo, okay?
These people are not true believers and unworthy of D'Angelo's presence. Would you like to know what a D'Angelo is?
Can I ask you a question?
You were hurt by someone you trusted.
Yeah.
Which made you feel powerless again.
What's so great about Atlanta that you can't leave it behind?
Wake up!
Nerd. I gotta finish it. Yards. Who the fuck named this podcast?
It's like a movie, my eyes are like a Uzi, jacuzzi.
Get the fuck out of the way!
9 Nerd Yards. I love it. Have a beautiful day.
What's up, nerds? Welcome to the end. This episode of Atlanta was surely a dip into deprivation. Last episode, we were on the safe farm with Alfred battling hogs. This episode, we are stealing Maseratis and hanging out with Cree Summers. I know this video has been a long time coming, so I won't hold you up. Let's get into the series finale of Atlanta, titled, It Was All a Dream. We fade in on a TV playing Judge Judy, and the first time watching this, I thought it was just a random shot choice, but the honorable judge's significance will grow as we get further into the episode. Not even joking, Judge Judy is borderline transcendental in this episode. Notice the editing in this opening sequence as we watch Ern and Al hanging out and talking shit. Then the focus turns to Darius, revealing that we were just watching Ern and Al from his POV the whole time. Darius was the one hanging out on the couch, watching Judge Judy. In fact, you might also notice that the background music playing, Liberty by Amnesty, is also the music that is playing in Darius's headphones clearly until he takes them off. You
ready to go?
This episode actually starts a lot like the Crank That Killer episode, with all the guys hanging out in Al's apartment. But there's actually not really any inciting incident with this episode like the beginning of Crank That Killer.
Crank that what?
Wait a minute, I heard about this theory. Most of the black murders that have occurred in the past year and a half have all been linked to a common denominator. Oh, the victims made Crank That Dance videos back in the day, you know.
What?
Basically, the premise for this episode is that Van got Ern to get Al to agree to show up to a black-owned restaurant to show support for the community. But Darius has other obligations for a dep session and won't be hanging out with the rest of the gang this episode.
I got a dep date.
Dep date? Picnic with a deputy?
An underground Johnny Depp film edited from all his old films.
Both wrong. Sensory deprivation, Tank.
I was
You were
closer.
closer.
And to be honest, this already seems so anticlimactic to what is supposed to be the final episode of Atlanta.
You could have ended stronger than that.
But as you may have already gleaned from my narration, this episode will actually break the mold from the typical Atlanta format. So from here, the guys split off and go their separate ways, with Darius going off for his deprivation tank session. So in turn, I'm going to split this breakdown into the A and B plot. And although I think that Darius actually has the A plot for this episode, I want to first focus on the B plot line that Al, Earn, and Van follow until the plot lines meet back up at the end of the episode. I think it will be easier to follow that way. Also, I've already made a video about most of Darius's plotline in my One Last Scene video that I posted on the Nerds at Night channel, and then also on this channel, and I'll leave a link in the description below so you can find the video easier. If you have already watched that video, don't worry, because I still have so much I want to talk about regarding Darius's plotline and all the fan theories that all of you have. But for now, let's start with the restaurant plot point for this episode. After Darius leaves, we get a little moment with Earn teasing Al about the last episode when he busts his shit on the farm.
Oh, Alfred had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he broke his foot.
What?
E-I-E-I-O.
Where the fuck you, and the fuck you. Here, fuck there, fuck nigga, I'ma fuck you up. Old Meg Alfred had a farm where he fucked your hoe. Let's go.
Which is funny to me because if you remember last episode, Al tried to play it off like nothing was going on when he was on the phone with Earn. But I guess eventually, with the severe injuries that Al had, he couldn't have kept what happened a secret for long. So they leave to go to the restaurant, and we get the final title card of the series, presented on a magazine cover on Al's coffee table, with the Atlanta title being obscured by a pack of Swisher Sweets. We see the headphones Darius was just listening to on the table with the dongle, which is like, bro, get a better set of headphones. What are you doing with the Five Below headphones? Your best friend is a fucking musician. What are you doing listening to those? But what is most interesting in this shot is the magazine cover's headline that says, "Who's got the flavor?" followed by the names of a slew of Atlanta-based rappers. From top to bottom, we got Gucci, Migos, Trouble, Young Thug, 2 Chainz, Lotto, Playboy Cardi, Shawty Lo, Young Jeezy, Future, Outkast, Lil Baby, and 21 Savage. I'm not sure exactly if this is just a call out to the showrunners of Atlanta's favorite artists at the time. I did think it was interesting that none of these artists actually made any cameos in the series, barring the Migos, of course.
We the Migos.
Yeah, the 4 Migos. We're inseparable.
Considering that over the series runtime, we did get a few Atlanta artists, I think it's a shame that we never got appearances from the people listed on this magazine. However, 21 Savage is shown last, and we do know that him and Donald Glover worked together to produce a parody movie trailer about 21's life, teased to be released on 4th of July of 2024. I feel like a lot of people still think that this movie is actually real, but straight from Savage's mouth himself, it was in fact a parody, and Donald Glover will not actually be playing an adult 21 in a movie. Let me know in the comments if you are disappointed that the trailer was not real and a 21 movie isn't actually going to be coming out. The title card is accompanied by the song Straight from the DEC by Ghetto Mafia.
Grind along, stay real, caught the clown, took his crown, ATL.
So we pick up with Al and Earn walking to the restaurant and talking shit in typical Atlanta fashion. I just gotta say that it makes me a little sad to know that this is the last time we are getting this scenario of our characters just talking and riffing while on the way to a certain place. Not to say that this shot is something new, it's just that Atlanta has a certain style that subconsciously resonates with me, and it makes me remember all the other times that we've had this type of shot. We've seen this shot with Earn when he bailed out Al in Amsterdam and they saw Sinterklaas for the first time. We've seen this shot when the gang was approaching Nando's and it was actually disguised as a trap house, but it was a really rich person's house. I don't know what to say, the shot just resonates with me. But anyways, we find out that the restaurant that Earn got Al to go to is actually a black-owned sushi restaurant that was previously a Blockbuster, as confirmed by the rusting sign at the top of the building.
Oh, hold up, man. Didn't this, used to be a Blockbuster?
It has been rebranded to Demarcus's 2.25 hand roll. Earn and Al meet Van inside the restaurant and sit down. I'm pretty sure that I mentioned this in the other video, but seeing Van and Earn kiss after episode 7 was actually kind of interesting. They seem to actually have come to a common ground, which I was not really expecting after watching that episode.
You know what I mean?
a little Kanye being passionate, but I do know what you mean.
But nonetheless, they seem to be happy together and ready to move to Los Angeles with Lottie. I just want to point out a common fan theory amongst the Atlanta fanbase that was circulating during the end of the season. The fan theory was that we were going to get a spin-off show called LA or South Beach that followed Earn and Van and had regular appearances from Al and Darius. And I can't tell you how happy I am that nothing like that is happening. I think Atlanta works best as a doorway rather than a series. What I mean is that the structure of Atlanta doesn't need to exist outside its original framework to accomplish the story. Earn and Al sit down with Van and they are greeted to hot towels, but instead of the fancy towels you would expect from a restaurant, they are just some kind of random dish towels, all appearing to be like different branded, like whatever you peeled off the floor type of towels. And the gang is kind of disgusted, like look at the looks from Van. Al describes the restaurant as low tier and references across the streets to Popeyes.
And if I'm gonna do low tier, I'm gonna do it the right way.
It turns out that Van is actually craving Popeyes too, and promises them they will go to Popeyes after they humor the restaurant staff.
I do want to come here, but I can't stop thinking about the Popeyes.
And yeah, I get what Al means, because honestly, if you ever go to a restaurant at lunchtime and no one else is there, it's like that for a reason. And I know things have changed in the restaurant industry ever since the panini, but the whole time the gang is there, no one else steps foot in the restaurant. Not a Grubhub or DoorDash delivery person in sight. Nah, something happened here and I don't want no parts of it. I'm going to pick a different spot to eat my lunch. At this point, the great Chef Kenny drops by the table to greet everyone. And it almost feels like it's a callback to Atlanta's sister show on FX, The Bear, the way that he calls out, "Sup?" and the kitchen responds back with a, "What's up?"
Sup?
What's up?
Chef.
It's right here.
Chef,
You can have
chef,
a taste.
chef,
It's right
hey.
here. Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
45 minutes to open, chefs.
Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
And I love this so much, but I don't think it's a callback to The Bear. I think that this show's season finale came out after The Bears. I'm gonna have to look that up, and I'll put an editor's note if I'm wrong. And if you haven't seen it already, I'm happy to say that we have an interview with Chef Kenny himself, Damian Jason White. Check that out as soon as you get a chance, because we had an amazing time talking to Damian about his acting journey and his experience working on the series finale. Thanks again to Damian so much for joining the chat. Sup?
What's up?
The next scene we get with the gang, Al is looking disparagingly at his chicken skin salad. Yes, I said chicken skin salad.
How's the chicken skin salad going?
It's salty, man. But not salty enough.
They must have gotten that recipe from D'Angelo. Al and Van are both ready to leave, but Earn doesn't want to be disrespectful to all the staff and make them feel bad. Again, they are the only people there, so it would look kind of crazy for them to just dip out early.
You know, this is exactly why we're going to this thing, okay? You need to be able to support your own. This is the first black-owned sushi restaurant in Atlanta. I fuck with the yellow rice, okay? I points for the idea.
This shit is gross.
Al points out that Chef Kenny is making sushi with his bare hands, and we get an awkward thumbs up from Chef Kenny, and an equally as awkward thumbs up back from Earn, which I recognize that Earn really likes to mirror those type of expressions. I mentioned Santa Claus earlier. When he saw the baby in blackface waving at him, he just had to like wave back, with Al just being like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But Van is also grossed out by the raw fish at room temperature.
Yeah, the fish is raw, but it's warm. Like, I feel like that can't be safe.
Yo, this place even has hot white Hennessy instead of the traditional sake.
Interest you on a refill of a hot white Hennessy?
I need the bathroom.
At this point, Al is getting frustrated and he just needs to compress, so he goes to the bathroom, but it turns out it's across the street.
You gone for a while, man.
Yeah, man, that's because the bathroom is in the rainbow across the street.
How was the bathroom, sir?
Far, nigga. It was far.
And so by the time he gets back, Al is ready to get the fuck out of there and get his Popeyes. However, they still have the main meal to get through. And this is when this plot officially gets interesting. So this is when we are finally introduced to Demarcus, and what can I say? It's perfect. This next part of the video might get a bit long-winded, but I've been told to not cut anything out of this video, so I'm just going to give you all of my thoughts about Demarcus's monologue. Let me first talk about the way Demarcus comes into the scene and how the mood immediately shifts. It's so dramatic and unnerving and silly all at the same time. Like, even the diegetic background music that was playing in the restaurant stops as soon as Demarcus's off-screen voice asks, "You're going to Popeyes."
So, yeah, sorry about that, bro.
Going to Popeyes.
And the framing and blocking to his reveal as he says,
Aren't you?
it's all just so perfect and somewhat sinister. I can't get enough of it. This character introduction, along with the threat of a poisonous blowfish, makes Demarcus into a mustache-twirling James Bond villain.
Let me guess. You want some hot sauce to go with it, brother?
And I am just eating it up, pun intended.
And I thought my jokes were bad.
The hostess and the bartender look actually afraid of him as he starts to get into the thick of his tangent. His footsteps seem to echo as he walks to the window, hands behind his back, as if he's looking out upon his kingdom, which in reality is just an empty strip mall parking lot. Ladies and gentlemen, it's amazing. Demarcus starts his soliloquy off by talking about when the movie Queen and Slim came out.
Night Queen and Slim premiered, we were filled. Line out the door.
Apparently, when they opened up the restaurant, it got a bunch of business from the nearby theater after the premiere of the movie. However, because his main dish is fucking poison blowfish, everybody left.
Black people hopped up on nationalism, coming to support their own.
Black people hopped up on nationalism, coming to support their own. I find it very interesting that Queen and Slim is the focus of the beginning of this anecdote. Last season, Black Panther 2 was the movie that was mentioned in the series for the parody reference of black cinema and was referenced many times throughout the season.
Our school has partnered up with the Atlanta Falcons and Domino's Pizza for the Change Atlanta initiative. So we're all going to go watch a movie. The new Black Panther 2. Let's go! I know, it's exciting.
However, this Queen and Slim reference is just kinda out of nowhere, and it makes me wonder if Queen and Slim is casted differently, like how Whoopi Goldberg and Lorenz Tate were the stars of Black Panther 2 in the Atlanta universe in season 3.
Look, Black Panther premiere is coming up. Do you wanna go? Got an extra ticket. Whoopi Goldberg and Lorenz Tate are in this one. Lorenz Tate.
But for this monologue, the writers point to Queen and Slim as a very specific piece of media that I believe is meant to exist concurrently with our real-world timeline, which makes it not just a joke reference, but a particularly important device for the audience to latch onto for a basis of time. It purposely dates itself to an experience. It makes me wonder, was this an experience of one of the writers? Did they go to a restaurant after watching Queen and Slim and have a weird dining experience? Why Queen and Slim? I mean, if I were to link any part of Queen and Slim to this episode, it must be the Darius plot, when he's with that girl during his depth session where she pulls the cop's gun and runs away, but that only loosely fits. So who knows? But let me know in the comments if you want to see me do a breakdown or reaction of Queen and Slim, but I digress.
Not one person ate the blowfish. Not one. Just a bunch of Yelp reviews that all said the same thing. This nigga serving poison fish.
Guys, I am still cracking up over this line. The amount of times I've gone out and got sushi and held this line in my head because I know no one would get it. It's egregious.
Sushi glory hole, imagine that.
This nigga serving poison fish.
Al tries to interrupt Demarcus to get out of there, but Demarcus just speaks over him and continues. I find it interesting that Demarcus brings up that the proper way to prepare sushi is with your bare hands, because this is directly replying to the grievance that Al had earlier about Chef Kenny.
Do you know the traditional way to make sushi is with your bare hands?
That chef over there is making sushi rolls with his bare ass hands, huh?
And that sushi should be served at room temperature?
Yeah, the fish is raw, but it's warm. Like, I feel like that can't be safe.
Every Japanese sushi restaurant worth its soy sauce does it that way.
So the implications of this line and the rest of this dialogue is so funny to me because it implies three things. Number one, Demarcus has heard all of these same complaints so many times before that he was able to build this dialogue as a rebuttal to all of his haters. Like, I can imagine Demarcus rehearsing fake arguments and conversation replies while he's reading Yelp reviews or having shower conversations with himself. Yeah, I'm going to say this the next time someone acts up in my shit. Number 2. Demarcus was actually listening in on the gang's conversation about the food and them contemplating going to Popeyes, and he became so incensed by the thought of them leaving that he felt like this was the time to just act up and just say what he has been feeling this whole time. Number 3. Demarcus just does this all the time, and everyone that works for him is scared, like the bartender and the hostess, because they know exactly what comes next. Anyways, Demarcus goes on to talk about how he studied the art of sushi in Japan under the Ginza line in a Tokyo subway. Is apparently one of the most acclaimed sushi spots in the world.
There's a sushi restaurant that can't even take reservations from the general public because it is so acclaimed. You want to know where it is? It's on the Ginza line in a Tokyo subway station.
Through his years of apprenticeship, Demarcus learned the art from the best and brought that talent back to Atlanta.
I know because my master, Yuji Watanabe, studied there.
I'm paraphrasing here, but this is the first impression that we get of the main point of Demarcus's dialogue. Because while his teacher, a Japanese man that he has no cultural relationship with, instilled within him the attitude, as long as his craft is good, then people will come, Demarcus feels resentment by the fact that the people he considers his own are his biggest critics. Demarcus believes that it doesn't matter where you serve the sushi if he has the skill to prepare it better than anyone else. It doesn't matter if he's running shop out of an old Blockbuster. If you build it, they will come.
He taught me that it doesn't matter where you serve the sushi, a Subway, an old Blockbuster video.
And I love the way that Al looks up to Ern with the line, I know it. Like, really? That's the most important thing to you right now? Giving out an, actually, I told you so. It's so petty, but so perfect.
He says, if the sushi is good, people will come. But I guess my master was never from Florida.
In this next line, Demarcus also says he's from Florida, but he also implied that he was from Alabama like a minute ago.
If a brother from Alabama does it the same way, suddenly the fish is dirty.
I don't really have anything to say about this. I just thought it was an interesting choice in the dialogue. Like, we already don't know anything about this guy, so why obfuscate his origin even further for such a short interaction? At this time, Demarcus points his disdain to the Popeyes across the street because he most likely loses a lot of business to that Popeyes. Apropos the kids making goofy TikToks outside the Popeyes with their chicken sandwiches.
This entire dinner, you have been staring across the street at a modern-day chicken.
He argues that the Popeyes original recipe and establishment is not actually black-owned and shouldn't be supported by black people in Atlanta.
You know who owns that recipe? An Italian man and his family, none of which have married black. I heard some of them even moved from New Orleans to New Jersey. New Jersey.
And I get what he means, because Popeyes really does pander to black culture in ways that does come across as borderline minstrel when it comes to their advertising.
We don't make sense. We make chicken.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Still, it is an interesting argument coming from a guy that went to Japan to learn how to properly make sushi. What constitutes quote-unquote original recipe when its influence is based outside the realm of the modern African-American experience? And it raises a further question about support in the black diaspora. So Popeyes is cool because it's marketed as part of the black experience, but sushi is not cool if it's served by a black man.
Suddenly the fish is dirty.
As far as villainous reasoning goes, this holds up. In a short amount of time, they have made me both concerned about what he is planning and also sympathetic to his frame of mind. Questions are being raised within his monologue. Where is the line drawn? Why should the diaspora trust Popeyes, but also why should we trust him? Should black people just trust and consume a possibly poisonous substance because it's served by someone that looks like us? No? Okay, so why does the culture hop on board the Popeyes train because it panders to us?
Man, I know exactly where I'm going after this. You smell that?
Yeah.
It smells like the manager mean as hell.
It's all just so complicated and can relate to so many choices that the characters in Atlanta have experienced throughout its 4 seasons.
It's a peach barbecue reduction and chunks. I called it the Darius, because you're from Georgia.
Okay.
I feel like this dialogue, as confusing and silly as it is on the first watch, is overall genius within its approach and criteria. What Demarcus is saying is basically what has been the question raised in the majority of Atlanta's subject matter, and it's what makes the show so special. And that question is, what is the Black American culture not juxtaposed against the white American experience, which is the media standard, but what is the culture juxtaposed against itself? More on that a little later.
The problem with us is we don't trust each other. Don't trust the Chicago, nigga. They're shady.
And as a Black individual that lives in Chicago, damn, I don't even know what to say. Y'all can trust me though, and I'll prove it too. You can trust me with your debit card, 3-digit security code, and expiration date. Oh, and also the last 4 digits of your social, just for extra trust. My DMs are open, thanks in advance.
What about trusting you to drop a video?
Shut the fuck up.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Never gonna get it.
I absolutely love Van and Ern's reactions in this scene. They look so worried and unsure of themselves. The thing is, Van and Ern actually completed their character arcs in episode 7. They are kind of just here waiting to get on with their lives in LA. And what's LA backwards? That's right. Al. Okay. I'm spiraling a bit, but I do want to point out that this dialogue is very much directed at Al as a subtle denouement of his character arc closing in episode 9. You can surmise this by Demarcus's next line in the blocking used for the shot. We have been told time and time again that the only person you can trust, hand over. Demarcus looks to Al and says, yourself.
We've been told time and time again, the only person you can trust is yourself, right?
It's haunting the way these lines are delivered. It is especially haunting for Al considering how his character has progressed throughout the seasons, always in conflict with how he views himself and who he can trust. Since the very first episode, he couldn't even trust Ern.
Nigga, I'm trying to help you, man.
Nigga, I ain't feeling heard from you since my mom's funeral. And the first thing I hear out your mouth is, let's get rich. Walk, man.
Again, I can't stress enough how good this scene is and how well constructed it relates to the overall themes of Atlanta, especially to Al. This is a direct response to the previous episode with Al on his safe farm, where he was putting all trust within himself and ignoring Ern's phone calls. Al wanted to be alone by himself, and even when he does answer Ern's calls, he plays it off like he didn't just almost fall to his death and fight a fucking wild boar.
Yo.
What's up, man?
Chillin', man, chillin'.
If you watched my breakdown of that episode, you will know that I strongly believe that this is something that Al had to do by himself because he was feeling like he was losing his own autonomy and control over his career throughout the season.
Man, look, niggas still checking for me because I speak for the street.
And the streets can't feed you. But you want to end up like Blue Blood? You could downsize your whole lifestyle and be fine. Live out in the country in the middle of nowhere.
But here's Demarcus quite literally portrayed as the devil on Al's shoulder, calling into question Al's need for independence, pushing him closer to accepting the blowfish. At this point, I want to talk about an interesting correlation with Demarcus's monologue and a real-life phenomenon that took place in Atlanta. Let's talk about restaurants and Black businesses. There's a YouTube channel called Amanda Mariana, and one of her videos is called Keith Lee in the Black-owned business discourse.
On October 30th, 2023, a force of unprecedented magnitude hit Atlanta, Georgia,
where she chronicles the experience of famous TikTok food reviewer Keith Lee with restaurants in Atlanta that I want to use as reference. During his time in Atlanta, Keith noticed that there seemed to be a certain through line with all Black-owned restaurants in the greater Atlanta area, in that the culture was toxic with the service they provided and the rules they had in place.
Customer service was interesting. While the people were nice, the rules they had set were very unique to me. We initially tried to do takeout, but when we came in, they said we couldn't sit down, and there was no space at the bar for us to stand. So we had to stand outside to order our food, and then we decided we just gonna dine in. But 2 people in our party stepped out for a second, because again, we fresh off the plane, so everybody was trying to get situated. The waitress, again, she was nice, but she told us she couldn't take any orders, or she couldn't do anything until everybody sat down. No water, no coffee, no drink orders, no nothing. She also said they can only do 1 order, and there's no add-ons.
Sir, we have a fixed cocktail menu for the evening. Please, make a selection.
Juneteenth Jews.
And I did reach out to Amanda and ask if I could reference her video, but never got a response. So I'm going to just link it below so you guys can check it out. But basically, in Amanda's video, she extrapolates Keith Lee's experience with restaurants to a bigger problem with how Black-owned businesses are treated in the Black community and how they are treated by their Black customer base. And quite fittingly, she references Popeyes.
But Popeyes, more than most of its peers, seems to be associated with chronically bad service. It's also a restaurant that has traditionally served urban markets, aka most of its customers are Black.
And by now, I think we all know that it's a meme how bad the service is at Popeyes.
Can I help you, sir?
Can I get a 3-piece with fries and mashed potatoes and with gravy on the side?
Yes, sir. Spicy.
Yes, sir! Move here! What do you want? What do you want?
You smell that?
Yeah.
It smell like the manager mean as hell.
But at the same time, it's also a meme of how bad the majority Black customer base can be to the people working at Popeyes. And it seems to be a never-ending cycle that can be applied across a lot of Black businesses in their transactions, big and small. In the video, Amanda asked us to consider, should a hairdresser expect the most from their Black customer base when it comes to support because they are a Black business? Should Black customers expect better service and leniency to typical business standards because they are patronizing someone they see as one of their own?
If you share no blood relation, you are someone's auntie or brother or sister. Even if they are a complete stranger, it's a normal way to greet someone. However, I think that same familiarity can blur boundaries when it comes to professionalism and providing a service.
How does that relationship adapt as time goes on? Are the hands lifting you up or are they pulling you down?
Since you were 8, you always had a dream where you were swimming, and below are hands grasping to reach you. You struggle to keep them from pulling you under. You fight to stay free. Why are you so certain the hands intend to harm you?
Oh, you want me to reschedule some shit I already paid for because you my brother? You want a discount and for me to switch up my shit because you my brother?
Brother, man.
Give me that brother shit!
Again, the juxtaposition is the culture upon itself.
My daughter needed that money, okay? Not in September, but today. Okay, see, I'm poor, Darius, okay? And poor people don't have time for investments because poor people are too busy trying not to be poor, okay? I need to eat today, not in September.
Eat my poison fish, brother.
And I know I said I wasn't going to cut anything out of this segment, but honestly, just go watch Amanda's video. I'll link it below. It's very thought-provoking. Tell her Nine sent you.
Lock the doors.
But at this time, Demarcus is done playing around. The delivery of this line is so goddamn sinister.
Lock the doors.
Excuse me? Did he say lock the doors? Huh? Chef Kenny, no! What will our protagonists do? How will they get out of this situation? Find out right after this message from our sponsors. So, y'all do know I don't have any sponsors, right? But I would be remiss if I didn't shout out Calvin Dutton, who played Demarcus himself. Calvin joined us for an interview and we talked about his experience playing Demarcus and his thoughts on the monologue. We were joined by your favorite cousin's favorite cousin, Bill, of the Drunk Banthas podcast. That interview is available to watch on the channel now, so go and check that out. And I would also like to tell you about the fundraiser for Clubhouse that you may have noticed on this video. Clubhouse is a nonprofit that, full disclosure, I am on the board of Clubhouse. It's an organization that provides scholarships and resources to kids in Zimbabwe. There's no public school system in Zimbabwe, so families have to pay their own way. The last time that we did this fundraiser, you all helped send 5 kids to school. And I just gotta say that y'all are so amazing for that. And if any of these videos that I make mean anything, then being able to do stuff like this is actually what makes it all worth it. So please consider checking out the website and learning more about us and possibly contributing. Shout out to the spin-off channel Nerds at Night, where we have a steady stream of videos coming from the team. And also I want to shout out CHIMVUKELA TV. That is actually another channel that I'm a part of. Quick elevator pitch. In the 1980s, Zimbabwe got its independence, and we are actually interviewing all of the freedom fighters that helped make that happen and what they went through. And just trying to build up a reserve of history through their experiences. So I know it's not for everybody, but if you are curious about it, I would definitely recommend checking out a video or two from CHIMVUKELA TV. Thank you. Let's get back to the show. Okay, before we get back to the gang at the restaurant, let's check in with Darius. We follow up as he is picking up a prescription before he goes to his dep sesh. The pharmacist is having a hard time finding the script under the name Eze, and I'm like, who the fuck is Eze?
I've got a prescription for Eze. Spelled E-Z-E.
I don't see anything here for you.
Are you sure? Can you check the back?
But before we get time to speculate who Eze is, Darius is confronted by none other than Cree motherfucking Summers.
Sorry, I overheard what you were saying. Were you talking about a sensory deprivation session or shitting?
Sensory deprivation, actually.
Cree Summers needs no introduction. For me, Cree is always going to be Susie Carmichael from Rugrats. You may know her as Freddy from A Different World. I mean, Cree has 350 credits to her name, so you tell me where you know her from. Cree actually confronts Darius because she heard him talking about his dep session, and she happens to also be an enthusiast.
It used to be a book club, now we call ourselves the Float Tips.
What? The float?
It's silly.
It's clever.
She talks about how she had to stop going because she gets so lost in the experience.
I had to stop going because I got too deep into it. The visions in the tank can be so intense, I started to lose track of what was real.
Darius can relate, but he has a secret way to stay tethered to the real world. Y'all ready to hear this? Thick Judge Judy.
Thick Judge Judy.
What in the hell are you saying?
Whenever Darius is unsure if he's having a lucid dream in the dep tank, he turns his attention to a TV, and if Judge Judy is thick, then he knows he's in the tank.
Yeah.
Like thick thighs and tits?
Yes, and booty, really. You know, it doesn't matter which body part you use, but...
Which is so ridiculous, but is also based on real techniques that people use to lucid dream. Basically, if you want to learn how to lucid dream, it's recommended that you do a few things, like keep a journal and write down your dreams. You hit the like and subscribe button, and you give yourself an anchor that will act as a switch for you to recognize that you're in a dream. I actually tried this years ago, and for me, my phone never works in my dreams, or my mind doesn't allow me to do anything with my phone. To this day, I can recognize that I'm in a dream if I try to use my phone, and then I typically wake myself up. The human mind is weird as hell.
I think we've made a lot of progress here. I feel great. Good talk. I'm proud of you.
For Darius, he recognizes that he's in a dream or in his dep session because Thick Judge Judy is his anchor, his inception spinning top, which starts to become problematic for us, the audience, when we consider this episode opens up with Darius watching Judge Judy. However, at the intro of this episode, we never get to see if Judy is thick or not because when Darius checks the TV again, it's a Popeyes commercial. So Cree and Darius are forming such a nice connection during this short interaction. I feel like there is something a lot more metaphysical going on with their dialogue and the meaning of this interaction.
Can I say something?
Of course.
You have a beautiful spirit. Thank you for sharing your time with me.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Cree Summers is just playing a character named Cree. I think because the actor Cree Summers has many portrayals of being the goofy and weird side character in different projects, she is almost having a direct conversation with Darius, the side character. I discussed this at length in my One Last Scene video. Watch that video for more thoughts on that topic. For now, I want to talk about an even more bizarre fan theory that connects the show Atlanta to Donald Glover's other show, Swarm. Skip ahead if you don't want Swarm to be spoiled for you. In the Amazon show Swarm, the main character Dre makes her way to Atlanta after a months-long countrywide killing spree. Dre meets a girl and they start dating, and Dre eventually meets that girl's parents, the mom being played by Cree Summers. Tragically, Dre ends up killing her new girlfriend, Cree's daughter, but we never follow up with her parents after the first meeting. So the theory states that Cree is playing the same character in both shows, Swarm and Atlanta. So not only is Swarm a Donald Glover project, it has a surrealness to it that is very much on brand to the Atlanta universe. Swarm also plays with the concept that what the audience is viewing is not actually the way things really happened. For me, the best argument for this theory is that the character that Cree Summers plays is so similar in both Swarm and Atlanta, and the show confirms that the events of Swarm happened a couple of years before the series finale of Atlanta. So the timeline would go a little like this. Dre from Swarm ends up in Atlanta and kills Cree's daughter. After years of being grief-stricken and depressed, Cree started taking anti-anxiety medications and going to dep sessions as therapy, leading to this encounter with Darius at the pharmacist. As a counter to this theory, Cree in this Atlanta scene says that she's actually picking up a prescription for her sick baby.
Your prescription, are you here for Anxiety?
Oh, actually, no. I'm here because my baby needs antibiotics.
Well, I have a way to address that as a counter rebuttal later in the video. I don't know, I just really like this fan theory, and in my opinion, it's one of the strongest fan theories out of all of the fan theories that people have created for the show Atlanta. Oh, and a little something extra. You know, at the intro of this video, I used the sound from this clip.
NineNerdYards. Who the fuck named this podcast? NineNerdYards. I love it. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
Guess who said that? If you guessed Cree Summers, congratulations, yes. During a meet and greet event, producer Terry actually passed her the channel information and was able to get that reaction recorded. I promise I don't have any other people I'm going to name drop in this video, but I would love to answer Cree's questions personally. Let me know in the comments if you would be hype as I would be if Cree comes on a live for an interview or something. So after the pharmacy, Darius is walking down the street when a car pulls up on him. It's everyone's favorite character, London. Remember her? She is part of Darius's old party days.
London? Oh, wait a minute. London!
Yeah, no, we have never seen this character before because we literally know nothing about Darius's life. If I'm remembering correctly, this is the only person of Darius's outside life that we have ever seen on the show. London refers to him as Darius X, which is kind of funny. Like, what was his last name before he took on the X moniker? London does convince Darius to accept a ride from her, and immediately we find out how crazy this girl is.
I've been macrodosing all day.
Macrodose. I haven't heard that one. Can I have some of that water?
Yeah, if you want to get fucked up. That's vodka. You know I'm lit.
She got vodka in a water bottle. She's been macro dosing all day. You shouldn't be driving. You probably shouldn't even be walking at the moment. Of course, this is the perfect time for them to get pulled over. Insert your own Queen and Slim reference here. The cop pulled them over because the tint on London's car is too dark, and I really like the cop's line delivery here.
Appears you have an illegal tint.
Really? I'm sorry, this is my mama car.
Your mother drives a murdered out Nissan Altima.
My mom, she got a stunt on him.
Your mother drives a murdered out Nissan Altima. So needless to say, the traffic stop is not going well because I mean, London is out of control and the cop asks her to do a field sobriety test.
Yeah, if it were vodka, would I do this?
And for all that is holy, London passes the test by answering how many seasons of Homeboys in Outer Space there are, which is apparently 1. I don't know, I've never seen the show, and I don't think I'll be checking it out anytime soon, to be honest. Those reviews look kind of rough. I watched the trailer and I just don't know if I'm going to check it out.
Come on, Mo. So he leaves his toys all over the floor. When the mission is simple, that's the worst that can happen, right?
Well, I certainly do hope so.
Even though London is being let off with a warning, London decides to steal the cop's gun and run her car into a little girl before she flees, leaving Darius at the scene. That's all before we realize that Darius has actually been in the depth tank this whole time.
Hey! Whoa! What are you doing? What doing?
Oh, no, let's go!
Oh!
This is all your fault!
What do you mean? Oh!
This is when we, as the audience, are shown the extent of Darius's depth sessions. Darius's visions go deep. The question is, how deep? Darius is obviously freaking out, so the attendant tells him to take a break in the tea room. Everyone loves the tea room.
I'll fetch you some tea in the tea room while you go relax in the tea room.
This is when Darius meets 3 ladies that are also enjoying tea in the tea room.
Why do y'all keep saying tea room?
Because it's the tea room.
Is the word tea room getting annoying yet? Yeah, Darius feels the same way.
Wake up!
I have very little to say about this part of the episode, other than that the 3 ladies laughing at Darius remind me of 3 witches, like some Macbeth type shit. Also, tea leaves are used to tell fortunes.
You're gonna suffer, but you're gonna be happy about it. Give me the cup.
However, these ladies in the scene don't give him any information or foreshadow anything, so I'm at a loss of making a connection or finding any deeper meaning for this scene. Darius just assumes that because they are acting so weird that he must still be in the tank. Unfortunately for him, this is all real and he just grabbed a woman and screamed in her face, so he's gotta go. You can't be scaring the hoes like that. After Darius is kicked out of the depth sesh, he makes his way over to another character we've never seen before, his brother Eze. Yes, Darius has a brother we never knew about. Eze is who Darius was picking up the prescription for. Eze seems to spend his days in his robe, locked out from the rest of the world and expecting no visitors. He also seems to be very sick, considering that Darius questions if it's even okay to hug him.
What's up, man? What's up? Is it okay if I hug you? Of course, man. Can't get no sicker.
Darius wants to hang out a while and chill with his brother, but Eze says he should be out there in the world hanging out with his friends, with his people.
I don't want you in here. I want you out there. Have fun. Go see your people.
Eze offers Darius a bowl of Jollof, and something weird happens. Darius asks how their parents are doing, and we never hear Eze's response.
How's mom? What about dad?
Darius just continues the conversation while looking at old photographs of his family. When he turns around, he realizes that Judge Judy is on the TV, and by golly, is she thick.
Damn.
Darius is still in the tank. I just want to say that this revelation choked me up with its implications. Darius' family, or at least his brother, is gone. The depth tank is his only way to interact with them. With Lakeith Stanfield's amazing acting and some context clues provided with his dream of Cree in London, we can surmise that Darius feels very guilty for not spending more time with his family when they were around.
Miss you, man.
I think London represents the people and shenanigans of his past he chose over being with his family. London represents the hands that pull him down, as opposed to Cree being the hands that lift him up. I mean, if he was picking up a prescription for Eze, which is part of his depth tank, that means Darius' encounter with Cree at the pharmacy had to also be part of the depth tank too. My personal headcanon is that Darius is somewhat aware that he exists within a TV show.
You made that up. Everything's made up, niggas stay woke.
I believe that Cree was telling him how to live his life after the show is over.
I think I was trained for a long time to look at this world like a battle, and in some ways it is. But, you know, I'm a part of this world too, this big thing, and I'm allowed to dance in it how I want to. As a matter of fact, I demand that I do.
This also adds to the swarm theory, being that Cree was also having trouble discerning reality in her depth sessions, and we met her as she was picking up prescriptions for her baby. I would argue that she could be going through the same situation as Darius. In Swarm, Dre killed her daughter, and just like Darius, she is also picking up a prescription on her way to see her past loved ones, with this pharmacy acting as a weird reality warping limbo. Quantum access point limbo, timey-wimey. I think it's a good theory. It's a good theory. Anyway, notice the look on Darius' face when Eze asks if he's staying.
You're not staying? I'm kidding. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
That is a man under deep regret for not being able to. Mind you, Darius admitted that he goes to a session every single week.
Actually, I come here once a week.
Maybe sometimes he sees his mother or father. What does it mean for him to stay? Does it imply that he drowns in the tank if he chooses to stay within that realm? Clearly, I'm obsessed with this scene and how it's constructed. Judge Judy is on the TV the whole time Darius is in the apartment. The way that Eze dips out of frame in the background, seemingly like a ghost, and the way he reappears next to Darius to reveal that it was all a dream, it's fantastic. And when Darius is awake in the tank, we get confirmation that he was actually drowning, or at least starting to drown, when he says to the attendant,
"Hey, I thought you said I couldn't turn over there, man."
I've never seen that before.
I thought you said we couldn't turn over in here, man. Like, yeah, he was literally lying face down in the tank until he was able to flip himself over. Darius was considering staying with his brother until his final moments. Or was he? Because right after that, we realized that he's still dreaming in the tank.
How long was I asleep?
I don't know, about 30 minutes?
Wait, what? 30 minutes?
It just never fucking stops. Okay, let's check back up with the rest of the gang at the restaurant. What will our protagonists do? How will they get out of this situation? Find out right. Darius comes in like a rocket and mollywops Demarcus. Darius then directs everyone to get into his pink Maserati as they escape into the sunset eating Popeyes.
La, 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 la. La, la, la. La, la, la.
After that, the gang is all chilling at Al's place, where Darius admits that he stole the pink Maserati, and he's not worried about it because he's still in the tank.
Nigga, you had us in a stolen car.
Are you serious?
In trouble for that.
Nah, I'm not worried about getting in trouble. I'm still in the tank.
Ern, Van, and Al are all perplexed by what Darius is saying as they try to convince him that he is not in the tank. Everything that just happened really happened.
Darius, you're not in the tank. Huh? No, you're not in the tank.
They all don't want to deal with the implications of what Darius is saying, and they go off to smoke on the back porch.
You gonna come?
Oh yeah, I'm coming. I will join you out there. Just wait for me, sir.
All right, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Go.
All right, man.
Leaving Darius in a very similar place to where we started this episode. Darius on Al's couch, secluded from the rest of the world and watching his friends before he turns his attention to the TV, where of course Judge Judy is playing. We see Darius lean in over the remains of the Popeyes feast as he gets a closer look at Judge Judy. Before we can check out Judy's proportions, we cut to Darius, and he gives a relieved yet remorseful look. Cut to credits. The episode ends with "The Song Is Familiar" by Funkadelic.
There's a song that I sing whenever I'm sad, feeling bad.
Okay, so there are really only two schools of thought when it comes to the ending. Either he was dreaming or he wasn't.
Maybe it's just my dream, and you were just in it. Always have been.
Maybe it's a dream. Maybe I'm in your dream or you're in my dream. I have to wake myself up. Wake up, John, wake up! Wake up!
Donald Glover has said some shit like, oh, it really doesn't matter if it's a dream or whatever. He said, fuck all that, I don't believe him. I'm a death of an author type of guy. If you put out a piece of work, then its interpretation no longer belongs to you, especially if you leave your creation ambiguous. Fuck what Donald thinks, name one Donald that is trustworthy. So I invite you, let's not only kill the author, let's put our hands together and reap what the bloated corpse of their creation has sowed. Shall we? Dreams are real. Compiling the reasons why Judge Judy was thick is actually easy. Number 1, the episode name is literally called It Was All a Dream, not It Was Some a Dream. We have been following every moment with Darius revealing everything he experienced was a dream. Number 2, the cut to black. When a dream is over, it's over. It's represented in a clear cut to Darius in a dark tank every time a vision is over. It's a hard cut. So we can perceive the hard cut to credits as the end of his current dream, and just assume he wakes up in the tank again. Number 3, plot development. So when I separated the two plot lines for this video, didn't it all feel kinda rushed and sudden when they converged together? We got to see almost every minute detail of Darius getting from one place to the other, but we don't get to see him stealing a pink Maserati and buying Popeyes for the gang. Doesn't that inherently feel like dream logic? Number 4, the song choice. When Darius does save the gang and they ride out into the sunset, you know what song is playing? Dream of a Lifetime by Marvin Gaye.
La, 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 la.
Why that song if not to convey that Darius is literally living his dream? Number 5, Darius goes to a depth session every week. All things considered, what this episode is showing us is that the show exists in a realm where Darius has experienced all the events of Atlanta in a more mundane, realistic sense, and we have just been watching it through this real and exaggerated lens of Darius's depth sessions. And this seems to be the most popular theory among fans, and it's actually very compelling. And I think it's the strongest pillar of the school of thought, but it's also where the school of thought crosses over to the other side. I believe Darius did not see a thick judge, and the ending is not part of his depth session. Walk with me. Let's say that we have been viewing Atlanta through the dreams of Darius's depth tanks. Darius wasn't there for Van's breakdown in season 3 finale, but what Darius did hear is that when Van was in Paris, she met a chef there and was hanging out with some celebrities until her friends convinced her to come home. The season 3 finale we got is more so just Darius's dreams filling in the dots with ridiculous, surreal moments. The result being that Darius is an unreliable narrator for the show Atlanta. To be honest, I found myself agreeing with this theory because it fits so well, and I think it works as a theory about the show overall. However, I think that for this final scene in particular, Judge Judy was not thick, and that's because of one thing that Eze says to Darius.
I don't want you in here. I want you out there. Have fun. Go see your people.
Go and be with your people. While I think that Judge Judy being thick lets Darius know that he is in the tank, I believe that being with the gang lets him know that he's in reality. He's present and in the moment when he's with his friends. Al, Ern, and Van are his anchors to reality. They allow him to experience life without his family in an actual productive way, unlike with London and the people that he met before the events of Atlanta. There might be outlying scenarios to this rule of thumb, but if you think about it, most of the surreal things that happen in the show are when Darius isn't around, but when he shows back up in the episode, things are a lot more straightforward, or the show actually progresses. Consider the ending for the first episode of the show. We know that Al did shoot that guy in the parking lot. It's what progresses the show's narrative. Van has a weird night at Drake's mansion, while Darius is there when it's over and they go home. Ern spends a whole episode getting revenge on a random lady from the airport. Darius shows up at the end to tell him how weird he is. Al tries to find a YWA to carry on his rap legacy. Darius is there at the end of the episode to make sure Al is alright. Don't get me wrong, Darius is definitely the weird and out there guy, but he surprisingly is not there for most of the weird shit that happens to the other parts of the group. And when weird shit is happening to him, like in Teddy Perkins, the rest of the gang is not around. So no, for this final scene, I don't think that Darius sees thick Judge Judy. When the gang is all together, he's with his people and he is experiencing life just as it is. The look he gives at the end is actually a look of relief and appreciation for a good life he has with his friends, but also the oh shit realization that he just stole a pink Maserati. I mean, he should be good. He bailed Al out of jail before. I'm sure Al can return the favor. So, at the beginning of this video, you were asked a question.
What's so great about Atlanta that you can't leave it behind?
I mean, I love the show and its characters. This channel is built off the back of all of us theorizing and talking about the show. It gave me an outlet to get my opinion out and share honestly. I think that was part of the reason that I've had a hard time finishing this video. I mean, other than life and stress getting in the way, I almost didn't want to finish this video. I kept writing and rewriting this video. I don't even know how many pages. There's a draft of this video that would have been accompanied with a short film in the style of Atlanta, but here in Chicago. I get very ambitious and a bit pie in the sky when I procrastinate. I almost didn't drop this video because I still don't think it's good enough for the series finale, for the end. But then I remembered something. This isn't the end. I can still experiment with my videos and do creative things later. I still have the first 2 seasons of the show to do videos on. The show isn't going anywhere, and I think the way I interpret it will always change. And I always love reading the comments and talking to you guys and making myself reconsider my own opinion on the show. So what's so good about Atlanta that I can't leave it behind? Well, I don't have to. If you've been watching for this long, thank you for being the hands that lift me up. Comment the wave emoji and I will heart your comment. Like and subscribe and I'll get us all tea in the tea room.